Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're actually going to start coding out our checkout form. So this is pretty much just going to be a very simple form. You can update it if you want. I'm just going to make it so that all it shows is the credit card input and then a button that allows us to submit. So what we need to do is go into our components, and I'm going to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this payment-form because that's all this is for me. It's just a form that allows us to make a payment, and we're going to embed this on our checkout page. So here inside, I need this regular two files. I need payment-form.styles.jsx, and I need paymentform.component.jsx. So inside of our component, let's set up what we need. We are going to first import in essentially this card element that I keep talking about that Stripe.js gives us. So here I'm going to import in card element from @Stripe -React Stripe.js. This is pretty much the key component that will show what we actually want to show, which is that credit card input. And then I'm also going to import our custom button because I need some button to actually make this payment. And that's it. Now, as for the component itself, I'm going to say payment form is equal to some component, and then I'm going to export it out as the default. So for now, all I want to do is just show the element. I don't even care about it working or not. I just want to make sure that I can see what I want to see. So I'm going to make a div, and then inside of the div, I'm going to place this card element. And then I'm also going to place a button, and inside of this button, I'm going to say pay now, for example. And also I'm going to say button style, or button type actually, is going to be the inverted button. So let's import in as well our button types. And here I'm going to say this dot inverted. And now with the payment form, we have to put it inside of our checkout component. So here I am going to import in our payment form from components /payment form component. And I'll just embed this right here down at the bottom beneath the total. So let's save this and let's go back to our application. And here we see it. It's a little squished because we have not defined the actual sizing correctly, but at least we see the component is loading in. Now, what we can do now that we know it works is start actually making this look a little closer to what we need it to look like. So let's go back into our payment form component. What we're going to want to do is we are going to want to create some kind of wrapping component as well as an actual form, because this is going to be a submittable form. So we essentially want to say whenever this form submits, then perform the actual Stripe payment. So for us to do this, we got to go into paymentform.styles.jsx. I'm going to import in styled from style components. And here I'm not going to do anything too fancy. I'm just going to do a really simple container and then the form. So I'm going to say export const payment form container is equal to style.div. And inside of this div, I'm going to say it has a height of 300 pixels. I'm going to give it display flex. I'm going to say flex direction is column. And then I'm going to make sure to align everything in the center. So align items center, as well as justify content center. Next, what we need is the actual form. So I'm going to export const form container, which is equal to a styled form. Inside, I'm just going to say that this thing has a height of 100 pixels and a minimum width of, let's say, 500 pixels. Now what we want to do is we want to go into our payment form component and import in both of these new style components that we created. So I'm going to import this from payment form styles. our new payment form container, as well as our form container. So here, I don't really need this div anymore because now we've created our payment form container. And similarly, we have our form container, which I need to make sure to wrap everything in. And I'm also going to put an H2. And this H2 is going to say credit card payment, like so. Now, what we actually need to do in order to start interacting with this card element properly. So the way that Stripe works is that you can actually pass this entire card element with all of the appropriate data once it's filled in to Stripe. This is why this component is so easy. In order for us to actually use it, though, we have to create a payment handler. So this is something we're going to say that on submit for the form container, we want to pass this. So I'm going to say const payment handler is equal to a async function because we need to make a API request, which is going to be asynchronous. So first what we do is prevent default because we don't want any of the typical form submission to happen. Now what we're going to do is we need to actually create a couple things with Stripe in order for this to work. So this is where we need to start introducing a couple hooks. From React.js, we need to import in the use Stripe hook as well as use elements. So here we're going to get a Stripe instance from use Stripe. And this is what we're going to use to actually make requests in the format that Stripe needs it to be. And then we're going to bring in elements, which is use elements. So very similar hook pattern that we're used to. Next, what we're going to need to do is we need to actually first make sure that these two hooks are loaded in when the payment handler fires. So in order for that to work, I'm going to say if there is no Stripe instance or there is no elements instance, in either case, I will just exit. I don't want anything to happen. So never proceed unless both of these are present. Then what we're going to do is we need to make a fetch request to our backend in order to create a payment intent. And a payment intent is essentially something that Stripe creates so that it knows that, oh, there is a payment coming. And this payment intent is what Stripe uses to actually confirm that there's a final payment about to happen. So for us to do that, we need to now start talking about our netlify function. So we're up to this point now where we need to actually make a request to the backend. So we got to touch upon the backend. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. We're going to figure out how to create a Stripe payment intent with a netlify function. I'll see you in the next video.